In this video, we'll use the key we created in the previous video to have our law firm run its process from the outside and receive the result, just like the form on its website would. I'm going to test it in Postman. It's a post request, and we already saw the address in the previous video. Inside that public API access box, it's your Qamaq address, followed by API v1 processes run. In authorization goes your key as a bearer token, just like that same box said. That's the part that tells Qamaq which account the request is coming from. Notice something important. You don't send anywhere which organization you belong to or who you are. All of that is derived from the key. The body contains two things: process, which is the slug we gave the process, and input, which is the data that process expects. And how do you know what goes inside input? It comes from your own process. It's exactly those fields, with the same name, written identically. Not one extra, and not one with a different name. Here we send a query like the one that arrives through the form: who is writing, what they need, and which jurisdiction. When we run it, we get a timeout error code, which is exactly what I want you to see, because it happened to me while preparing this, and it will happen to you. A timeout does not mean that the process failed. It means that the response did not arrive within the expected waiting time. These are two different things, and confusing them will make you look for the problem where it isn't. You can verify this easily. We go back to Qamaq, into the monitoring submenu, and from there into executions, where you can see every run. We go in and see that it ran. It received what I sent and responded. Everything is working correctly on this end. And who decided how long to wait? Qamaq does, because I haven't specified anything yet. When you don't send a timeout, it uses its own default. That default is only a couple of seconds. And when a process queries a language model, it almost always takes longer than that. So we tell it ourselves. We add one more field to the body, one we simply didn't write in the first call. We simply add timeout_ems, which defines how long we are willing to wait. Let's set a longer timeout and run it again. There we go, and in less than 5 seconds. But pay attention to something, because this is the only serious limitation of all this. The time you can request has a ceiling. Our process queries a language model and takes several seconds, so we're requesting almost the maximum time allowed. If yours takes longer than that ceiling, the response won't reach you in the same call. So this approach won't work for you. Take a look at the response, because it has a shape that's worth knowing. At the very top, there's an OK field. When the execution succeeds, it comes back as true, and it brings back result, which is what your process returned, exactly as it built it. When it fails, as it did a moment ago, it comes back as false and returns an error with a code. The great thing is that the structure is the same in both cases. In your application, you don't check the HTTP status code. Look at the OK field, and if it returns false, check the error code. That way, you only need to write a single path in your code, not two. Down below, you'll find a request ID. Save it in your logs. If something breaks on the Qamaq side, that number is what allows us to locate your specific call among all the requests received that day. Before we wrap up, I want to return to Qamaq one more time, because there's something here that matters more than everything we've covered so far. Notice that after our call, no new row appeared. And it's correct that none appeared. Our call doesn't create anything separate. It runs on the same instance as always, using the same active version. What increased was the execution counter, where you can see all of them tallied together, the internal ones and ours. In other words, calling via API is not a parallel path. It's the same process running exactly as it does when someone triggers it from within, with the same history, the same results, and full visibility for your team. Take a look at the tokens column. It displays the accumulated total that the process consumes, regardless of where it was triggered from. If tomorrow your site calls it 1,000 times a day, that is the number you should be monitoring. A post to processes run. Your key as a bearer token, and a JSON with the process slug, the fields that process expects, and how long you're willing to wait. I tested it here in Postman to demonstrate it to you, but this is just a testing environment. In your system, it's the same call using whatever language you work with. And notice the last thing, which will serve you the day your business changes. Your firm's knowledge didn't end up inside the call. The call sends 3 fields and waits. Everything this process knows, what the firm does, which inquiry is urgent and which isn't, lives inside Qamaq. So when you open a new practice or change your criteria, you edit the process, publish a new version, and your external system doesn't change a single line. It keeps working the same way as always. That's the deal. Your application requests, and Qamaq is the one that knows.